Welcome back. In today's episode of Eating Cereal, I'm going to try to eat 200 Oreos. I've got 6 cases of Oreos here, and from my understanding, there are 39 of them per case, so 6 times 39 is 234. So one of these I'm just barely going to touch, but I'll get 200 total, and I'm going to arrange them in an interesting geometric pattern before I get started, and we'll take a look at that right now. Let's take a look at how the stack of Oreos is organized. Each of these little stacks has 5 Oreos in it, and the base of this structure is made up of these groups of 5, and the base is 5 units by 5 units. So the base consists of 5 times 5 times 5, 125 Oreos, and then the top of the structure has 15 of these units. 15 times 5 is 75. So we've got 125 on the base, 75 on the top, so we've got 200 Oreos. Let's get it started. This is going to be pretty tough. 200 Oreos only weighs about 5.5 pounds, but as you know, Oreos are very dry, so you need a lot of milk to take them down. But I'm going to give it my best, and the starting time is 3:04, so let's get it on. So in today's lesson, I'm going to do a card counting trick. I was initially going to do this lesson during an episode where I go to a casino to do a food challenge. Problem is there just aren't really any good casinos around here, but eventually I will get to a casino, do a food challenge there, do another card trick, and do some gambling in an episode, and it'll be a lot of fun. But for today, I'm just going to do this card trick, and then I'm going to tell you how it's done. And this is my second episode in my series about sort of the importance of training your brain and brain exercise. So the first one was an episode I posted a few months ago, which I'll hopefully be able to get you to click on here if I can figure that out without annotations. But that was an episode where I solved a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, and I ate a bunch of burritos. So in that episode, I stressed the importance of translating a difficult mental task into a language that your brain can decipher. And so that's what I've done here, and I'm going to tell you all about my method after I do this trick here. It was inspired by my favorite poker player, Chris Ferguson. I used to watch poker on ESPN a lot. Chris Ferguson, also known as Poker Jesus, he was known for a lot of things. He was a really good poker player first, but also he could fling a card so fast that he could slice a banana, and he could slice carrots just by flicking cards at them. And then another trick that he did that I was very impressed by was where he could take one card out of a deck and then individually look at each of the other 51 cards, and then he could tell you what that one card was just from memory. So that impressed me quite a bit. I tried to do it for years. I could never figure it out, and I encourage you at home to give that a try. And it's a lot to memorize, and it's a really difficult trick to pull off. But more recently, I started thinking about it a little bit differently and developed my own method for how to do it. And that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to tell you how it's done. You can see here that this is a normal deck, 52 different cards. Nothing unusual about this deck. And I'm going to shuffle this up a couple times. This trick takes me about 5 or 6 minutes to do, so I'm going to speed up the video. But I'm going to put a timer on the video so you can see how long it's taking me. But I'll give this one more good shuffle. Not looking. Okay. I'm not looking. I'm going to pull a card from the deck. Let's say this one. So this is the card. I'm going to guess what it is without looking at it. Here we go.
sa du ja till slut. Du sa en middag men sen inget mer. Så får jag bli till din kavaljer. Men du ska vara hemma innan solen går ner, säger du och ler. Jag bokade bord för två på en liten restaurang.
Four of Hearts. All right. Now, let me show you how it's done. So first I'd like to talk about the method that Chris Ferguson most likely uses to do this card trick. He hasn't discussed it in an interview, so I'm not completely sure, but he is somebody who's good at two-dimensional thinking, and this would be the most likely method. First, what he does is he envisions the 4 suits and the 13 cards within each suit as a grid in his mind, and then it's just a matter of checking off the boxes when you look at each card. So we start out with the Ace of Diamonds, and then we give a check on that box, and then you just go through each card, and eventually we get to the point where there's only one box left unchecked, and it's the card we pulled out in the beginning, the 4 of Hearts. Now, it's very rare for somebody to be able to think like this, but there are people who are able to envision things in two-dimensional space in their mind and just being able to check a box as they go through a deck and then just see in their mind's eye what this grid looks like and just seeing the changes being made to it. This requires a person who's very good at just two-dimensional thinking. It's the type of person who would move to a new city and know their way around within a day. Definitely not me. So I can't do it this way, but I developed my own method for how to figure this out, and I'll show you that right now. So here's how I do this. I'm not great at thinking in 2 dimensions, but I am pretty good at mental math, and this involves plenty of that. What I do is I assign a number value to each of the 52 cards in the deck. I arrange the suits in alphabetical order: club, diamond, heart, spade, and I assign a value to each card. So we just start from 1, we go all the way up to 52, and then I pick aces low just because it makes the math a little bit easier. But we start out with the ace of clubs being equal to 1, and then the 2 is worth 2, 3 is worth 3. Clubs are pretty simple. And then we go up to the king, and that's 13. And then we start over in the diamonds. Ace is worth 14, and then all the way up to 26. And then hearts, we start ace worth 27, 28, 29. And then we get up to the highest ranked card, which is the king of spades. That's worth 52. And the sum of all of the numbers 1 through 52 is 1,378. And what you start doing is you just look at it one card at a time. So this first card is the 9 of diamonds, and in this system we know that 9 of diamonds is equal to 22 right here. So it takes a lot of practice, and I definitely didn't get it right the first time that I did it this way, but eventually you just kind of learn what cards equal what values. And then, so you start out with 22 when I looked at the 9 of diamonds. So we've got 22, and then plus, all right, jack of clubs, that's pretty simple. That's just worth 11. So, and then we move along here. We keep adding up the cards that we look at. And then eventually we get to the point where we've looked at all of the 51 cards that were in the deck originally, and we get a sum of 1,348, and the difference between 1378 and 1348 is 30. So then we think, okay, what card is equal to 30? And that is, of course, the 4 of hearts. So this method, it takes some practice, but it takes a little bit of time. But once you get it, it moves real nicely. And this goes back to the point I made in the Rubik's Cube episode. I saw a card trick that I wanted to learn how to do when I saw Chris Ferguson do it. And it looked very tough, and I tried it many ways using what I thought was the best method to do it, but I was never able to figure it out that way. So I translated it from that method into a method that my brain can understand. I can understand mental math and do mental math a lot better than I can do two-dimensional memorization and that kind of thing. So that's really the key to solving any mental task that seems impossible, is just to translate it into a language that your brain can understand. And that's how you do it. All done, all done. Whew, that was really tough. It took me about an hour, 1 hour and 1 minute roughly. It's not even the quantity of the Oreos that makes that so difficult, it's the sugar. Like after even like 20 Oreos or so, it just becomes repulsive, and the milk making it into a nice dish, casserole type dish, really helped with the milk, and then the water helped to cut the sugary taste of it. But yeah, that's it. 200 Oreos. I hope you liked it. I will see you next time.